Welcome back to Talking Ball with Steveospeak. We are going to get into some underdog drafts, Battle Royale drafts. We're going to talk ball and go over some, what the portfolio is looking like, especially shout out to Patrick Donovan, Diablo2 on Twitter for really even adding some more upgrades to his great site, BBMD. So much we can talk about on here. And we'll look at Underdog and Drafters as well. So definitely want to talk a lot of different things. Want to hear from you guys as well. Looking forward to it. We are now 6 weeks into the books after last night's doubleheader, Monday night doubleheader. So 6 weeks into the books, almost halfway through the regular season, even in terms of things like the marathon and, drafters, stuff like that. We're at a significant portion. So yeah, a lot to talk about. Really excited just in general for football. This is why we love it. This week, plenty of fun, good games. I'll be on later this afternoon, like usual, with Who Hames, breaking down every game. But we'll talk about some things here as well. And like I said, get into some drafts. But we will start with, some expo, with the portfolio and stuff like that. Let me hit up chat first, and then we will get into it all. We got Go Arizona Cards in here, GM. Hope you're doing well. We got Mike Robin here, Steve-O, man of the people. Appreciate it, Mike. We got my sister in here, Charles in here, GM. Kicks in here. How's it going, Steve? Doing well, Kicks. How are you doing? We got our guy Chad Candles in here, GM. Portfolio tool is so good. I totally agree. And yeah, Chad and Arizona Cards, I think they both punched a ticket to the Underdog. Can't even think of the name of it right now. Dog Bowl. There it is. So yeah, they are in a very good position for this year. During the season, but yeah, we have our best ball tool to look at. We will be going through that. Kicks in here. I'm sorry for your loss last night, but as a Bears fan, I'm not. I'll say that it was a very frustrating game as a Washington fan, but honestly, they didn't deserve it. They had 3 turnovers, just kind of sloppy. Bears could have done a lot more. I mean, the refs were even conspiring with Washington. That Roma Dunze, that was a touchdown, plain and simple. Caleb, missed some other ones that really, honestly, Bears looked to be the better team. I thought there were some that Caleb missed. There was, some that, a few drops and stuff like that. But that could have been quite the blowout. Washington did not play well, and sure, they're missing a few guys, but not too promising for being at home for Washington. Mike Rob, we may love best ball and gambling, but this year feels like I'm a sugar daddy, get some benefits, only spend money. Yeah. The refs were bad. Yeah, that game was, I thought, terribly officiated. And yeah, multiple bad calls, I thought. Over under 3 times per day, Chad Candles enters Scatterboo in the portfolio total. I mean, I might do it 10 times. So what can I say? But no, I'm with Chad Candles on that. And that's our guy for sure. We got Pepper Tony in here saying, "Sup pups, hope you're doing well, Pepper Tony." Let's go over the the BBMD tool. Obviously, it's been a great tool to start. There's a new portfolio thing we'll get to in 1 second. But the first thing is they've added more contests. They added Badge Bros Brawl. There's a few others that I know he could add. I'm sure he'll get to them eventually. I think the MMG is still not up there. But the marathon's up now. And forgot to put in my username. That would help. So, it obviously shows 0, 115 advancing. But with marathon, we know what the cash line is. The cash line is, unfortunately, it doesn't tell you the exact number here. But the cash line, in terms of number of teams, is 12,000. So anything, up to this 11,655 would currently make money right now. And granted, that's through week 17, so you have more weeks. And so then I have a handful of others, in 12,000 range, 15,000 range. So other things sneaking through, but I can look and see where I'm at, which is really nice now. And you can see this on Underdog. They've improved their setup as well. And it will tell you how much you're making for each entry and all of that. But it's nice. I can see here, I believe if I counted earlier, I have 10 teams in the top 1,000. So, that feels very strong because the top 12,000 are making money. But of course, most of the money is up top. Meg is actually in 10th place last night, or in 10th place today in hers. So she's in a very good spot for a big finish in that contest. But yeah, really nice to see the marathon added to this. And then the sprint also. And honestly, the sprint might even be better to look at because we know the didn't fill. So there's going to be wild card spots. Of course, everyone, their first and second team are advancing, but you look at all. So my current advance rate, 27 out of 130, out of 111, so 24.3%. But we know there's going to be wild cards, and wild cards go down to, I believe it's 9,200. So I even have a team outside of that that's currently advancing, but most of these teams are going to advance, would currently advance. And I counted earlier, I would have like 10 or 11, depending on, because there are going to be some teams out, like the one I currently have outside the window that are advancing. So it's not that every team in the top 9,200 advance. So maybe this 9,014 doesn't advance, but this 88.63, this 85.69, etc., going on up, those should all definitely advance. And then I have others, in the ballpark here as well. So that feels really good. If you just below that. So generally speaking, I'm very, it's great to see these snapshots. Yeah, I actually have one advancing at 10.987. So that's what I mean. Like, there's going to be some teams advancing that are not as strong in terms of total points. So we can't count every single team. Like maybe this 914 just doesn't end up just because there's so many, a couple hundred teams outside of that would be the 9,200. But it helps gives a real snapshot of what teams we feel confident about. Like for instance, this is, this is a third place team by 16 points, but honestly, it's almost in the top half. So I have a very good chance of advancing this team regardless. I mean, let me look at it. Who knows? Maybe it's a neighbor's James Conner team. And right now it's not coming up. But just in general, like some of these third place teams, even if they are, here it is. Mahomes, yeah, I mean, this is a fairly live team. Bucky's banged up. But no, this is a very live team. So, but even if it stays in third, I should feel very confident about this team advancing with where I'm at right now. Let me hit up chat real quick, and then we'll get back into a few other things. I just can't believe we're about to be halfway through the regular season. I know. It is crazy. It is going way too fast. It's way too much fun, way too fast, but way too much fun. Yeah, no, Meg is a really good team. We can look at that also. Tim in here. I may have seen Trey Harris gain some action in the Chargers game. That would be nice if it gets worked in as the season goes along. Yeah, so we'll talk about this more with Huhames, but the interesting thing with the Chargers game, obviously there's no QJ, and that clearly helped Trey Harris for sure. But he actually led all Chargers wide receivers in snap count, and that was a very close game. It's not like a blowout situation or anything of that nature. They just trusted him, so that is very promising. When QJ comes back, we'll see what that looks like, but definitely promising for that kind of stuff. Scroll down on these and flex on the people with how little amount of 10 to 12 place teams you have compared to advancing. Crazy rates there, Steve. Hide your mom's and grandma's people. Steve attracts them. I appreciate you, Mike. And I do talk about this. I do think it's important because particularly when we're talking whether we're 40% through, 50% through, 70% through the season, you got to be in the ballpark. And this is still the sprint. And look, like some of these teams, like maybe I'm not going to finish in top 92,000, but I'm 0.02 out of an advancing team there. Right now, I mean, anything. I mean, honestly, you could make up 80, 90 points right now. There's still a good bit of time, but anything within 50 points, I think you should consider very live, one way or the other. Could I make up 78 points? Sure. Is that as likely as the 22? No. So I'm going to, this 22, this team, and they have almost the exact same points. Is clearly much better, but I do, take some pride in as many teams near the top as possible because, and like Mike's saying, I do try to have as few teams in 10th, 11th, 12th because those are the teams that are going to be tough to recover. Just the way that it is. And the reality is, yes, some of these maybe in first place teams, but some of these second place teams, like this team I'm in second place, but only by 1.44 points. I might lose out. Now, granted, it's at such a high point where maybe that ends up being a third place team where in this format it'd still be okay. But yeah, let's look at the BBM for a second, just to highlight it. And it is taking a long time to load because the site is quite popular today. Let me hit up chat while we're doing that. Yeah, QJ, but I do think Trey Harris had been getting used more and more, so we could get some usable weeks from him. Is he maybe going to pay out that, round 9, round 10 ADP that he had for a while? Probably not, but you get some usable weeks out from him. It could be okay. Go over here and card say super excited for one of my DK Millie teams. 28 points with, wow, that's a very strong team. Yeah, I will be honest, like, because DK is just so hard to look at teams, like compared to drafters and Underdog, and especially with a tool like this, I look at it so much less as the other two. When we get down to it, I'll look at it more, but it's so frustrating compared to these. Right, it's a little slow right now. Let me just try to go with the portfolio tool. Actually, I'll exit out and bring it back. But no, I'll bring up the portfolio tool next time it comes up. Oh, okay, it came up. So, right now I'm advancing 19 of 80 BBMs. But like, I have a third place team, 3.4 behind. I have a lot of third and fourth place teams. So my hope is I do end up with a much better advance rate. And yeah, I mean, these teams at the bottom here, they're done. I'm not expecting to come back from 303 point deficit or 200 point deficit. But yeah, these teams, honestly, anything within 50 points, I feel could be very, very live. Even some of these sixth place teams. Obviously, it's a little harder because you still have to jump multiple spots. I'd rather be 50 points back in third place than in sixth place. But overall, I feel good where my overall portfolio is. And speaking of, let's go to the portfolio. I'll bring up mine here. And I know there's a few bugs there. Like I think the Chihuahua, it has advancing 3 of 12 instead of 2 of 12. So there's a few bugs I'm sure that needs to get worked out, but this tool is so much fun. Chad saying, yeah, I have zero clue how I'm doing it. I honestly looked at this morning and it's like, okay, it looks okay, but I you have to count manually. It's so frustrating. I know I'm just missing my 555 team, so hopefully that one can get through because that's the one I care the most about. I'm with, like, I looked at my high scoring ones, but it's just like to figure out like total advance rate and then the ones that are in third, like how far behind you are. It's very confusing. I do it and I'll do it more as we get closer. I just wish DK made it a better experience because I honestly like how they've changed some of their Underdog or not Underdog, some of their best ball, like how they do things. Like they have a lot more better advance rates. So let me bring over BBMD portfolio. And sorry, I didn't realize I wasn't sharing the screen when I was just looking at BBM, but no big deal. I forgot that I had to exit out. So here's the portfolio. And Chad Candle's asking, give it to me straight as a race fader. Is my advance rate about to crater? And then, well, as for who Hames, I mean, he's the big Chiefs guy, Rice guy. You know, the way I look at it is I don't think, and it also depends on where you got Rice. Like when you were taking them in the second, third round, those teams are going to be tougher because there's a lot of guys hitting there. The ones where you got them in the fifth, sixth round, you know, probably doing better because, you know, there's some hits there, like the George Pickens, the DK Metcalfs, etc. But there's also more misses in that range. And Chado saying hi, how's it going? And I mean, look, I think Arizona Cards has this right. Scatterboo trumps Rice. Only 15% Rice feels low. Yeah, I'm very low on Rice. I'll be totally honest with that. So we'll see. I mean, hopefully it doesn't knock me too much. But here's my overall portfolio. And keep in mind, this doesn't have, I think, things like MMG. This doesn't have like the pick six, the rookie sophomore, and of course, it includes sprint but not marathon or like eliminator stuff. So I'm currently advancing, and one or two tournaments might be slightly off, but overall, this is such a great tool. So currently advancing 403 out of 1628, so almost 25%, slight, you know, above what my baseline is. So I feel strong, but what I also like is, and this doesn't, you know, evaluate like your third, fourth place teams, like I was just mentioning, but what I also like is I feel pretty good throughout. It's not like if you were to just highlight some of my higher dollar stuff like Huskies, I'm advancing 8 of the 20 Huskies. You know, so that's clearly above average, which does have a higher average at 25%. The Pitbull, I'm advancing 3 of 10. Chow Chow's 1 of 9, but that's one where I have like 3 third place teams, 2 fourths, and a fifth. So I feel better about that. And you know, the Rottweilers, I'm at 20, you know, 2 of 8, so 25%. Rottweiler Superflex, exact same. Dalmatian, I'm right at what the field is, 33. Bulldog, you know, like, you know, between the two Bulldog, if I was only advancing 1, I'd be where I need to be, but I'm advancing 2 of the 4. So it feels generally good. I mean, a few of these single entries not hitting well. I only did 1 Great Dane, and that team, unfortunately, that's like a James Conner, Austin Eckler, maybe Malik Nate. Like it's pretty dead in the water. So don't think I'll make it through on that one. But overall, I like where I'm at, kind of across the board. We're not like, you know, like, look, I think advancing is advancing. You want to advance as many as possible. But if I was just overly exposed and advancing more of my like $3 teams than my higher dollar teams, I wouldn't feel as great because I know I'd need to do more to make up for it, right? And of course, some of those don't have as strong, you know, quarter and semifinal advance rates. So I feel pretty good where I'm at overall. And you know, like and I've talked about like Superflex, like right now my heavy early quarterback exposure isn't paying off as well because there's so many quarterback injuries. Hopefully long term, I can get above the field. I'm right at the field, basically across the board on Superflex. But I'll bring that up. Like if you look, let me bring that up. Puppy Superflex. It is. So right at the field, but I have a lot of, you know, third, fourth, fifth place teams and many within 20 to 50 points, if not less, like 0.14, stuff like that. So I'm hoping that I can get some through. Like this fifth place team that's 106 behind. Yeah, I don't think it will make it. But this one that's 22.98, I think I would have a real shot. So ideally, I'm hoping I'll end up more like 20, 25% when it's all said and done. But let me hit up chat, and we'll look at a few more things before we start doing some drafts. Yes, Hugh Hames is on race, and Scadoo, and yeah, James Conner. That injury is a tough one. Tim, appreciate it. Yeah, Meg, we know where Meg is on Scadaboo. Eddie, we'll get to drafters in a second. And I check my teams hourly. I get it. I totally get it. I have one of my race teams advancing, but the RB room is strong. And yeah, it's one of those things where if you're ahead with race, it feels real good. If you're behind, hopefully you can, that's where you want to be in third, fourth, fifth place. Like if you're in 12th place with race, I don't know if one man can change the fortunes no matter what he does from here on out. And that's why I said, like, if you were getting him when he was going fourth, fifth, sixth round, it's probably easier to get those teams through going forward. Now I see that Faded Scaboo is not a good idea. But 18, yeah, Dowdle's looking good. And, there's some coach speak. He might have a bigger role going forward. Who knew that all three teams I yeah. Well, that is one way to advance. Get Dowdle and Scadaboo. I have 50 Superflex teams over 750 points. All of them, yeah, and that's another way to look at it. Is kind of like your total points, because you get a good barometer. And some might not go through. Like, this one is really strong in total points, but I'm in fifth place. 37,830. That 83 points feels really good. But in fifth place, not only that, I'm 57 points back. So I think this team that has 11 points less, at 18 points back and 26 points back, probably a lot more alive. This one that is, 150 or 759 points and just 3-point packs, yeah, feels super alive. So that's honestly one of my favorite things about BBMD is seeing the plus minus. I think can really start giving you a good indicator. And then some of these teams, and yes, you need to click on them because maybe every player's gotten injured, but these ones, 96 points, 151 points, feel pretty safe. So it's such a great tool. Thank you. So appreciative that we have it to help analyze these teams and have fun with it. Eddie saying smash the like. Appreciate that, Eddie. And I'm sad I'm down to one limb team and only drafted 18 teams. Wish I maxed out and won $7. Nice. Yeah, so I got my big limb through. I needed some help last night. Drake London came through. And then I actually got a regular limb team. I was down like 30 points going into last night, and he had a Dunze left and could easily count. I had Drake London and Zach Ertz, and I somehow won. So I do have one on a limb team left. Not sure if I'll make it much further because it does have James Cook, and I'm very thin at running back, and he's got a bye next week. So we'll see. DFS is going to break me. I need to stop. Last year I did well. Keep missing one. Yeah, DFS. It's been a roller coaster for me this year as well. Other than BBM, what contest do you want to take down? Ooh, I mean, just obviously from a financial perspective, I would say the another one of the ones that are six figures. So like a Pitbull or one of the puppies or the big board. I think it's 200K. So yeah, I mean that would be fun to get not just a win but a six-figure win. I'd say just for the bankroll and the brand. But I'm very into Superflex. I would love to take down one of the Superflex contests. But we're also big into marathon sprint. big believers in those formats. I do think they reward good drafting. So maybe May can take down the marathon. Maybe I take down the sprint, something like that. That'd be fun. But no, I mean, I hope to get the goat horns. I hope to get the win. Obviously want to be profitable, want to get as many finals teams, as many big hits as possible. Yeah, I mean, the other thing I would like is, wouldn't mind one of the higher dollar ones. I mean, the highest dollar one I did the Great Dane. I'm not going to advance that, but like Dalmatian or Husky, just because I definitely like those that have the higher initial advance rate, like the Husky or Dalmatian. And I hope going forward, Underdog starts producing some of those for lower stakes as well. They did a couple, but would be nice. Obviously it's not going to be their main thing. I think those would be fun. And then, yeah, I was so close to the big board last year. So that would be fun. I'm currently right now advancing 26%, so just above what should be. And the same thing, like plenty in the mix. But I would absolutely love to take it down this year. So close, finishing fourth last year. So those would be the ones. I know that's a mess of an answer, but yeah. We got one in here. Hope you're doing well, Juan. I got a second quarter team through that had under 10 points at wide receiver. Wow. So let's see. That was the semifinals the quarterfinals. So now you're into the semifinals of the second quarter. Nice, James. Well, good luck. Hopefully, wide receivers score more this week. I'd love to take down the BBM. God, yeah. Hope my drafters. Yeah, nice. I want to take down Badge Bros without rostering. Ooh. Yeah, I mean, you'll have to go through Chad Candles because I know he's doing very well in Badge Bros, and I know he rostered a hell of Scatterboo in that. Scored 82 points at running back. I'm guessing it was some sort of like Scatterboo, Bijan, Dowdle, or Jacobs. What was interesting, because we talked about this with the second quarter, is you had some top teams on bye for the first week, like Bijan, like two of the top running backs this week, Bijan and Jacobs, were on bye for the first week. So you had to like get them through the first week, which is super tough week, and to have them live. So yeah, very interesting strategy there. All right, and we can always go back, but let me go. I do want to go over to drafters and bring this up. Show where I'm at. So I had been in first place in the mini here. I'm in second place. Unfortunately, James Cook didn't do enough last night to get me back into first, but only 5 points behind. Feeling really good. Long season to go, of course, but feeling really good about this team. I mean, Dak is my quarterback. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is fine, but Geno, oof. We'll talk about that with who aims. That team is not looking good. Eventually, Bucky will be back, but JT, Cook, Scatterboo, Bill, my running back room is very strong. Chase having more and more life with Flacco feels good. Pickens, Jacoby Myers, Mbuka, that injury isn't great. Keenan Allen, Darius Slayton, and Rashard Bateman, and then tight ends Andrews, Ferg, and Theo Johnson. But the other team that really kind of spiked up this week is in the main event. I am now in 13th in the main event for drafters. And before we get to my team, let's just shout out who's in 14th place. And that's our guy in here in chat, Eddie. He's in 14th place. So he is right behind me. We are hoping we end up 1-2. And you know what? I'll be happy with the 2 if you beat me, Eddie. So feeling really excited to see. I mean, this team's been rising the last couple of weeks, but feels really good. Dak, May, Darnold, Bijan, Jacobs, and this was a thing I got through last week. My top 2 running backs on bye, get them back. They both smashed this week, so that felt good. And boy, do both of these backs just look awesome. going forward. Dobbins, Ray Davis, Rico Dowdle. So wouldn't mind if he keeps that starting role a little bit. Justice Hill, T. Higgins, George Pickens, Courtland Sutton. So yeah, my receivers unfortunately let me down outside of Pickens and well, honestly just Pickens, because Trey Tucker was my number 2 receiver at 12 points. But I got guys like Slayton, Keenan Allen, Jacoby Myers, Steph Diggs, Courtland Sutton. So I think I'm good overall long term. Just went with 2 tight ends in 20-round format. Not my norm, but Berg, Mason Taylor feel pretty strong. So that would be a team to root through. Have some other, top ones. Like I'm 46th and 74th in Superflex. 113 in this other mini. 35th in the early mini, 26th in the early best ball, 83rd in another mini. So definitely have some things I'm feeling good about for drafters as well. So hoping to have some nice sweats there, and hope it's not just Eddie. I hope plenty of you who do drafters have some good sweats as well. So shout those teams out if you have any. And let me hit up chat. And second quarter, I never got a top 5 pick. Yeah, in that one team, I do need Bucky back, but honestly, Rashard White's helped me in a few other things. By the way, Gritty had like 40th in Maine. Oh, nice. I missed that. Let me look at that, Gritty. Let me see if I can find him. Is his name the exact same in drafters? I'll have to look in a second. I'll be happy to also appreciate that, Eddie. We got Huckleberry in here. Appreciate that. Hope you're doing well, Huckleberry. And DJ Quill 2, second and $2. Nice. 49th this week. Okay, that helps. Is this 49th? Maybe I'm missing it. I don't see it. Are you a different name on Drafters, Gritty? But yes, always rooting for Mike as well. I know I saw on Twitter he is crushing it across the board. 63rd. Gotcha. Hey, I mean, you're still alive. There you are. Yeah, I thought you were the same name. So hit him with the Gritty. 63rd, yeah. So no, and that's the thing, especially because these go to week 17, so you have more weeks to get an extra point here or there. Hey, 157 is pretty solid, and and even if that's not in Maine, even if it's in a smaller, that's a solid payout, and you just gotta get a as high as finish as possible, and if it's positive ROI, it's positive ROI. There you go. Appreciate you guys. All right, let's get over to Underdog, do a couple of drafts. We'll talk some other things as we go, but I do want to do a couple of drafts. Feel free to shout out anywhere anyone else is. If you want me to analyze anything, particularly on BBMD, I'm happy to do that. Because I do like looking at a full portfolio and kind of judging where things stand. I think it's important to do, and more as you get deeper into the season. So let me switch it over to Underdog, and we will do a couple drafts. I've honestly not done. I haven't done any yet this week. Had some family company in town, so I've been visiting, Sunday and Monday, just trying to get work and everything done, watching all the games and all that. But so I haven't done any drafts yet. So this will be my first ones of the week. And let's start with the Battle Royale. Let's get right to it. I will be entering in 5 seconds. I will count it down. And I will enter in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Enter. So I did not do great in Wildcat and Battle Royale last week. Definitely just didn't have the right combos. Talked about it a little yesterday with Meg. You know, you had to pay up for tight end in the sense of essentially you had to draft McBride or Warren. Just too many extra points there, I feel like. You know, you had to avoid the injuries. You had to avoid the Puka and Buka injuries. So you had to be more in on like JSN or Pickens, or definitely running backs, particularly Jacobs and particularly Dowdle later. So still waiting on one. But, you know, that's kind of the nature of the beast with these dailies is, you know, it can ebb and flow. So the last couple of weeks have been pretty profitable, but last week was not. All right. So I'm in the 5th spot here. My early look at this. One interesting, I mean, gotta love Pickens against Washington, but it sounds like CeeDee Lamb is going to be back. So, you know, I mean, I love what Pickens has done. I still think Pickens is going to be a very viable fantasy asset, particularly in best ball, because, again, we're judging him based against 4th, 5th round picks. He's probably going to be just an ultimate smash, have plenty of usable weeks, but we're probably going to be getting more of kind of what we saw with him before, where he's getting like 15 points. You know, that 12-point game was without CD, but I think you're more likely to get those kind of games than these 27, 29. I wouldn't be shocked if he's got 1 or 2 more in his bag, 20-plus point games. But I do think if Lamb is back, he's probably a little overpriced. I also worry Rice is overpriced. I looked at the ADPs earlier, and I just don't know if they're going to give him a full workload week 1 coming back when they're looking good without him. It's not like their pass syntax struggling. And it's against the Raiders. I mean, they could be up pretty big, pretty early. So, you know, don't know what to do about those kind of receivers for sure. I think I'm more apt to wait for a receiver this week. But it's tough. Like what gets to you at 5 and 8? So yeah, I'm not surprised that goes these 3 running backs in a row. I was hoping Judkins would come back to me. It's a tough matchup for Saquon, but I will take it. He is, you know, yes, there's no question like Bijan was a better pick than him right now, but it's not so much Saquon, it's the offense. And as we saw, he ripped off some big runs and then they just went away from it against the Giants. I mean, didn't make much sense. Rico is interesting. You know, Javante's interesting, but I actually don't mind Jaden Daniels here. Dallas is bad. Their defense is real bad. And, you know, Jaden, even last night in a bad performance of his own, had 22 points. So his floor ceiling combo is exceedingly high. I think him, Mahomes, Prescott are really good this week. Drake May is probably really good. I think Mike Vrabel's looking for the revenge there. So quarterback seems deeper, but I still don't mind taking Jaden Daniels there. I think wide receiver is one I'm more willing to wait on this week. Just I want to hear some more indications on some injuries. I think you just have to be right on some things. Like Steph Diggs played plenty, and he had a big 50-yard pass called back. I know he didn't get there last week, but look, it could be him this week. It could be, you know, I mean, I don't feel great about Chris Olave, but it could be, you know, some other guys down lower. I mean, you know, a Green Bay player, No, well, there's a Denver guy who, Denver has a much easier matchup this week versus the Giants than they did versus the Jets. Running back feels very deep this week. Excuse me. So I'll gain one early, but can't wait on the other one. I would have taken a Dunze. Tight end. This position group, I'm fine waiting this week. I mean, last week you didn't want to. I'll go for another week of Rico. Even if Hubbard's back, I think Rico might have earned the lead back role, at least for a week or two. Jets, I know, had a good game against Dobbins in England, but traveling internationally, that team's a mess right now. That team's really a mess. That was their best defensive performance, and I just don't know how repeatable it is, would be my concern. All right. I will go Lad. He had a 100-yard game, 7 catches, 9 targets, touchdown. It was close to even a bigger game. And Colts, good defense, but their secondary is kind of weak. Let me check up chat since I have a little bit of a break here. Wish it was weeks 15 or 16. We got 11 more weeks to go. Next week we'll be halfway through the regular. Yeah, but no, you just keep taking it week by week. Mike, Puka down week and the Broncos RB down week killed me in the main event. Yeah, it does sound like Puka might miss a little time. My guess would be their hope is next week they hold him out this coming week, and then they have the bye week 8. That's my guess. I haven't heard any confirmation on that, just kind of my guess. Biggest player disappointments this year. I mean, not counting injury because it's not like Neighbor's fault or James Conner's fault or anything like that. In terms of like early and even like Joe Burrow. So I'm not even going to talk like Higgins. Give me a second. Let me make a pick here. I will go Jake Ferguson against Washington. Nice little bring back there. There's a few receivers I could look at. Sutton or Diggs are my worthy. I'm going to go Sutton. So that is my first team. We'll get another one. Let me hit up chat. So biggest player disappointment. Look, I will say I think there's plenty of seasons. So some of these rookies, as we're seeing, look, Genty's looked so much better the last 3 weeks versus the first 3. A few other rookies are starting to come online more. Scatterboo being one of the main ones, but even at other positions, we're seeing some other receivers stepping up more and more. So kind of avoid looking at like T-Mac, 2 touchdowns. Didn't get 10 yards, but 2 touchdowns just feels good going forward. Golden's getting more and more involved. There's a couple guys that come to mind, but I think trying to think mainly in the first 4 or 5 rounds of ADP because you're paying a high price for. I think I don't know. Like, I know he's had some usable weeks. I do worry about Brees Hall overall. He's been fine so far, but that team I just feel is on the verge of kind of collapsing. I think one of the bigger ones that isn't really too injury related. I mean, again, there've been a lot of injuries, so that's tough. Because obviously, like Bowers and plenty of those. McBride just finally had his like second usable week. Just you're paying a high price for McBride, and tight end was a position that, I mean, you just could get a lot better product. I mean, Zach Ertz has more usable weeks or about the same usable weeks as Trey McBride. I mean, Tyler Warren is feeling much better. So I kind of lean Trey McBride just from the opportunity cost since he was going at that kind of round 2-3 turn. It's a good question overall. I mean, like it's hard for me to say Barkley just because I feel like he's had plenty of usable weeks and is good enough. I guess Chase Brown would probably be the real answer, but it's like the Burrow injury, I feel like is such a big factor on that. So it's not so much Chase Brown's fault, but I don't know. I'm hearing fans are wanting Shador play. Have you heard any talk, Steve? They're saying about the lack of downfield completions. I mean, I definitely heard some fans talk about that. I don't know if Shador is going to change that too much. The wide receiver play is kind of down right now. No sitter Tillman, dealing with rookies like Bond and young guy like Thrash and Gage Labarian or whatever his name is was producing this week or was on the field this week. So I don't know if Shador is going to really change that. He's not the most he doesn't even have the biggest arm, more than Gabriel. But the interesting thing is the Njoku injury, how that could change the dynamic of that team. We got Solon here saying he's advancing 37%, 37.5%. Big board, nice. Very good. That's well above what you're expecting. Yeah, landmine for sure. Name you're looking for most at this point is John Harbaugh. Totally unbiased and irrational opinion. I mean, from a team standpoint, yeah. And this honestly shows like the injury is one thing and injuries in general, but them losing those close games to like the Lions and Bills, if they'd won those games, they're in such a better position right now, even losing these last couple games. But them losing those close ones to the Lions and Bills, which are both very winnable, they're in a hole. There's no question about that. Yeah, unfortunately, they didn't do Resurrection this year. Chase Brown, yeah. Chase Brown, I do think that has to be it. I initially thought of him, and I was like, I kind of set a pass for Higgins. So does Brown get the pass also? But it's hard to deny. Like, you're just not getting much out of him. Maybe that changes now with Flacco, but we'll see. Biggest surprise for me is Judkins. I thought he would miss the entire season. Disappointments are all. Yeah, Tennessee, more Ridley than Pollard, I'd say. But yeah, Ridley, and he barely played in the game. I'm not sure what his injury status is. I haven't seen anything on that since. Yeah, McBride had his best game with Jacoby Brissett. Totally wild. But it was also when Marvin Harrison went down. So if Harrison's out for a while, maybe McBride just gets fed targets. Yeah, Jake Ferguson was another tight end. Like, that's the thing, Goddard, Ferguson, those tight ends were just craft. Those tight ends are really just kind of mid-tier tight ends are really smashing, even some late guys like Ertz, a few others. And appreciate you for joining us, Index. I don't think Burrow comes back this year. So, yeah, we'll see if Burrow comes back. If the Bengals get a couple wins, worst pick is Joe Burrow naked. Yeah, I mean, that is feeling not great right now. But I think if the Bengals can be in the mix and where maybe they have to win out, and Burrow could come back for that reason. So I'll get into another draft and we will go from there. So another Battle Royale. I'll enter in 5 seconds. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Enter. And I'll probably do one more after this. I'll probably do these 2 drafts. Get on out of here. I will be on with Two Hames at 3 on his channel. I'll drop a link before I go. But in there, we are going to break it down every game. I have a lot to talk about, I'm sure. So we just filled. Hopefully, I have an early pick. I do not. But Go Arizona Cards is in here, and he got an early pick. So good luck. Good luck there. I do think, 1, 2, 3. I know last one, Achan went first. I know he's coming off a monster game, but I think it's JT or Jacobs. Like, that's where I went. I'm taking those 2. I went way above anyone else. Those will always, I think, be my 1, 2 this week. I just don't see that changing. Judkins against Miami feels good. It's just, and this is probably one of his true ceiling outcome games. Just, boy, as I said with Who Hames last week, Judkins is good. The Browns are bad. And that was further reinforced on Sunday against the Steelers. That offense just, some games won't even produce a touchdown. So Cards goes with JT. I mean, JT, he's just looking so good this year. And we're seeing a lot of running backs. I mean, what Bijan did last night, absolutely incredible. CMC finally gets his first rushing touchdown, getting it done. I mean, that he just needs some help. And Jacobs, I mean, the running backs at the top. And Achan's another one. Like, Achan, just a monster game. A little bit more inconsistent because the offense isn't nearly as good. But he's definitely paying off. Had his best game of the year. Yeah, I actually don't mind pulling Judkins to the 3 spot. I think that's a very defensible, him above Achan. So this is a dilemma because I am going to want some Pickens, but with Lamb coming back, and I know we don't know it's official, but it sounds good. Jerry Jones said he's expected back. I might just take Pickens here. I'm worried because I think he will fall after all this. I know I did Daniels with the last one, but I'll just do it. I don't love the Justin Jefferson, especially if J.J. McCarthy ends up coming back. And as I mentioned with Rice, like maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they just totally put him right back. I know the Andy Reid comments were kind of non-committal, and he basically said, like, he'll be in the mix and all this kind of stuff. So I just don't know if they rush him back. Because let's keep in mind, he was also he dealt with a camp injury. He was coming off a major injury from last year. So, and we got kicks in here as well. So yeah, we'll see if Race is push. I just don't know if they need to. Yeah, Judkins. This feels like a Judkins week for sure. J.J. McCarthy plays. Yeah, I agree. That's how I view it. His 3 best games are right. Like, I mean, I know he had a touchdown week 1 with McCarthy, but he with Wentz, he's looked pretty good. Is it as good as he was last year with Darnold or in years past with Cousins? No, but very playable. 32% job. Yeah, that feels good, Eddie. JT is, man, they're throwing to him now. Yeah, Judkins. I think I'm going to have rankings up tonight. I think Judkins will probably be my 3 as well. That's my initial lean. Yeah, that kind of feels like the right play. Load up on Lamb because he'll probably move up to like 4 or 5. So probably should have gone there because I do think like Pickens will fall, Lamb will rise. I'm actually surprised Lamb's fallen this much. 46% Dobbins, Josh Jacobs, JT. Nice. That is a good group. And Dobbins still got most of the usage, just didn't have a day against the Jets defense, who actually showed up overseas, kind of for the first time this year. Ooh, Mahomes. I actually think this is going to be a big Mahomes week. It's been a big Mahomes year so far, but 3 straight games, 27 plus points. Raiders secondary is real bad. I think the Chiefs, they know they dug themselves a little bit of a hole early, but they've been playing much better. In general, barely lost to the Jags, but just playing really good football. So, yeah, I think they're in a good spot. So I think I'll take a Washington player. Don't know if I'll go JCM. I'm going to go Debo and Tyler Warren. So waiting a bit more in running back here. So, yeah, I could always take a third receiver. Generally speaking, that's not the right call. And we're seeing it every week. Look at the running back scores versus the receiver scores. You had multiple running backs with 30 plus points. I think a single receiver got there. JSN and Pickens, really good. Even London last night didn't get 30 points. So, yeah, I just think if you want the points, like you should be 1-2-2-1 basically every time. If you're doing hundreds of drafts, you can mix it up slightly. But I wouldn't personally do it too much. One definitely interesting thing is seeing DeAndre Swift last night against Washington. That's the best we've seen Swift in years. So that was a Washington issue for sure. Yeah, I wonder, Worthy didn't get there the other night. It's more of a Hollywood game, but I think he's still going to be the guy quite involved in that offense. And tons of spike week potential. The Kamani, Vidal, Hassan Haskins, Vidal played well. I just color me skeptical. I think that's more of a Miami Dolphins stat than a Kamani Vidal. Genty versus Kansas City is going to be an interesting call. His usage has been great the last 3 weeks. So, tough matchup, though. And we will do one more team right after this. And I will jump over to Huhaim's channel. And we will be breaking down every single game. think I would go double rookie here if that's what I get. I also don't mind Jordan Mason, Kamara, even Stevenson, Dobbins, and Swift. I'll go Genty. I mean, the workload is so massive. The talent is so massive. And no, I'll honestly go Mason. You know, Philly's run defense has struggled of late. It is McCarthy. They could rely on Mason a little bit more. If not, I still think it's a fine play. Probably won't be, fully owned. Running back here, there's a lot of usable guys. We just have to guess right. Could we see a Tony Pollard have a big game? Could we see one of the Chiefs backs have a big game? Sure, of course. But all again, maybe. Just don't have a ton of faith. Let's see what kicks and go winners cards do, and then we'll get on over to one more draft. And before we get there, before we enter that, here is Huheim's channel. Won the love stack. Somebody take that. Patrick Barnes, unfortunate. Yeah, quarterback. I know I've taken it early twice, but I do think you can wait. I mean, Caleb feels fine. Hurts is always in play with the tush push. Even as bad as that offense has looked, Drake May, I think, is in play. Fields, I actually could see a bounce back as much as, trust me, I'm going to make plenty of fun of the Jets offense. And Justin Herbert, honestly, Bo Nix even against the Giants. So I think quarterback's actually kind of maybe the deepest it's been this year, to be honest. All right, let's get one more in, and we will do one more Battle Royale. I'll enter in 5 seconds. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, enter. Okay, because I don't play much Battle Royale. Yeah, nice. No, it's it's fun, but I mean, you just have to, obviously pick the right guys, and it's one of those things like last week, even the winner, what was interesting, the winner of the Battle Royale did not have either Drake May or Trey McBride, even though they were number one on the slate for both quarterback and tight end. I think it was Dak and Warren, which was very good. They were like 3 and 2 respectively, I believe. And we got our guy Chad Candles in here. Hopefully we'll one day get one of the first 2 spots, because I want Taylor and Jacobs and Judkins, but fifth again, Chad Candles in 6. Patrick Barnes is back in here, so hopefully he doesn't snipe either one of us, Chad. But no, you just kind of make your bet on that lineup, and sometimes, and if you're playing, mix it up sometimes, like scrolling down or mixing up a build, like at the 8th spot, like don't necessarily follow ADP. Like honestly, like what Huheim said, like pulling up a Lamb, or in this case maybe a Dunze, might be the better call, because if he just ends up being a better pick there, that's who you want. Yeah, I mean, Eagles offense feels tough to invest in right now, but we know the potential. It's so over. Yeah. There always feels, most weeks, last couple weeks I talked about, it feels like you want the first 4, first 5 picks. This week, honestly, I think you want the first 2. 3 maybe is passable with one of these backs. 5, 4, 5, 6 don't feel near as strong this week. And even like last week, like the first 5 picks felt really good. It was like Puka and the 4 running backs, but I will take Judkins here. Spot, it was like, okay, you could double tap receivers or you could pull up a running back. It felt very passable still. Wow, Ray Rice, or not Ray Rice, She Rice, 3rd overall. That's an interesting pull-up. Let's see where Chad goes. Barkley and Pickens, yeah. I'll take a Dunze here, mix it up a little bit. He should have had a much better game. And, I said it earlier, like, boy, there were just so many opportunities for him in the game. One where Caleb ran for the 3-yard first down, which is a fine play, but Adunze was just wide open deep. And then, of course, the one they took away, and then a couple of the deep shots that they were just off on. And, DJ Moore is going to miss some time. I mean, obviously, Burton's going to be more involved, but Adunze should just be spiky. I mean, I think Rome Adunze, obviously Neighbors is hurt, but of the second-year rookie receivers, Ladd and BTJ, even Worthy haven't been as good as necessarily they were down the stretch last year, and some due to injury with Worthy and Pearsall and all that. But Marv hasn't really taken off. He's banged up. I mean, Dunze has just looked the best of the year 2 wide receivers. So hopefully it starts to pay off. He's had a lot of good usable weeks, but hopefully he has some more big spike weeks. Scoring running back goes in the Fed. Give you a hint, he has a fan club. Yeah, I have a feeling this could be a battle between little Chad Candles and I, who can pull up Scatterboo the most. So, yeah, I don't know if he'll last me in at 29. But I think he's a very, that'd be past AP. I think he's a fine pick. Denver's a good defense, for sure. But I think we know the way Scatterboo's can get used. Here, I don't think I'll go running back. I think I will go. I can go Dak. I mean, Caleb's fine, but I didn't want to get felt boxed into Caleb. I'm going to try and get Ferg. If not, I have no problem taking Dak on his own in this. Look, you want to stack, but like I said before, Drake May was the top quarterback stack. Unless you're pulling up Keishon Butte, you didn't need to stack Drake May last week. So let's get Ferg. And I just, I'm a Washington fan, and I've just seen this offense not look good this defense, not look good this year. Like the Chargers game, they were able to get some pressure and just kind of turn that game, particularly once the Hampton injury occurred. But overall, not been too impressed with the Washington defense this season. I like Bill a lot this week. Speaking of bad defenses and bad run defenses, who is Dallas bad? I mean, they are real bad. So probably going one of those with my next pick. Receiver, you know. Diggs worthy. Allen could be in play. So pretty sure one of Bill or Scatterboo's going here to hybrid. Oh, it takes Dobbins. So, man, we might be passing on Scatterboo for Bill. I'm going to take receiver here since Chad Candles has 2 running backs. I'm going to take Diggs. I know it's 3 catches last week. I think he's in line for a big game coming back. So, wow, I'm really surprised Bill fell. 17 carries. He did have another fumble. Very disappointing, but it is his backfield. No, Chris Rodriguez was a little banged up. McNichols played more down the stretch because he's more the passing back, and I think they want some more reliability. As much as I love Scatterboo, I think I'm going to take Bill. I'm going to go for the other rookie. Just because I wouldn't be surprised if his ADP falls some. I think he's going to be more a 4th, 5th rounder. To get him in the 6th round feels good, feels unique. It's also a bring back to the Dak Ferg stack. So yeah, neither one of us take our guy Scatterboo. But hope everyone is doing well and they're having their own best ball sweats. And yeah, we're going to be doing more recap shows and things of that going forward. Probably next couple of weeks, maybe after week 7, do a longer one, just since it is halfway through the regular season for sure. So we'll need to figure that out, but looking forward to it and always happy to answer questions, whether on Twitter or we have our Discord. If you sign up, part of our Substack, $34.99. Uninterrupted unliking. I know. I feel kind of bad about it myself. I cannot believe. Wow. I mean, I think both Chad and I feel like we played ourselves. Would be my guess. Yeah, very, very shocking to see him undrafted. Anyways, yeah. So no, thank you all for joining us. Always liking our episodes especially when we do take Scatterboo. And yeah, we're looking forward to the rest of this basketball season, the rest of this football season. We will, of course, tonight. Sorry, Tyler. I'm going on Whohame's channel in 15 minutes. Spread and Tyler will be on tonight. And tomorrow, the Wednesday show, Degen Dads at night. Thursday, Meg and I will be on for our Degen Power Hours before the Thursday night game. Then Friday, we will be back should be back with Tyler this week for our prop party. And then Degen Dads again Friday night as we get into week 7. So hope everyone is doing well. And we got our guy Mike Robb just enough time for a web gem draft. Yeah. All right. Well, hope everyone is doing well. Have a good day and join us over on the Whohame's channel and then back over on Fanspeak later tonight. And I will catch everyone next time. Peace.